Next up, from forever our loyal fangirl, Barb McLean.
Barb.
What's the biggest changes that you've observed in the financial services this last year?
Bob, we love you. So the biggest last year has got to be, this is probably going to have a European bias, but for me it's how big of a subject open banking has become. I think it's now become normal for people to talk about this at an executive level. It's become normal that we're dealing with it and living with it. And I think attached to that is that it's become normal to think about building propositions for that. It's become normal that we are working with what does an end-to-end customer journey look like, and we're thinking outside of just banking contexts at last. It's not just we're going to aggregate accounts like Jason was saying. We're starting to think about, actually, is it buying a house? Is it saving for university? Is it what are these end-to-end goals that a person has, a bit like in the last answer, and how can we start building those services that meet people's longer term goals? That's what I think has been a bit of a change, but I still think there's a ways to go in that coming. This is the very, very beginning of that change.
I think that the biggest change in the last year has been a change in narrative from we're going to spend $1 billion on digital transformation internally, and we're going to just move this whole organisation to a lot more conversations on we're going to build something separately outside of the bank or the insurer or the whoever we talk to. I heard Anthony Jenkins from Barclays on a podcast, not one of ours, I should say, but one of ours last night, and he was saying exactly the same thing. And I think there's this understanding now that this Gordian knot of processes and procedures and governance and incentivization and systems and everything else in a large bank just makes it phenomenally difficult to do those next generation things. I think a lot of people have tried, and now we're seeing actually just a lot of the big players now looking at this as a viable opportunity, which is of course great for us, but definitely a trend.